Good afternoon. Welcome to the process of Chandigarh, carrying toward the legacy of Le Corbusier and Pierre Jeanneret. Welcome to the third event in the tri-webinar series organized by ACT Chandigarh and Sakar Foundation. Today's webinar is on public participation. And when we talk about public participation, many things come to our mind. The first important thing is the approach adopted for public participation and planning at local level. We think if planning has been done in participatory way, whether the approach has been bottom-up approach or it is the top-down approach. So the approaches towards public participation in planning and governance are very important. Then another important dimensions is the institutional designs and mechanisms. What kind of institutional mechanisms and designs have been adopted for planning and governance at local level? Then whether the leadership is of participatory nature, whether the bureaucracy is of participatory nature, or it is facilitating. So these important things come to our mind. Then whether the process is of, whether the face-to-face dialogue has been adopted for the planning and governance, whether the trust building is taking place, trust between the local government and the people, which is very important. If the planning and governance is through participatory process, probably the level of trust is also high. Then whether the governance is a kind of shared governance or it is just one-sided systems of delivery of services and management of systems. Whether the system has inbuilt mechanism of engaging people, whether various types of committees in which people are integral part have been constituted to manage various affairs, whether the government is responsive. So responsiveness of the government is again very, very important. The presence of the government is very important. And then trust building and dialogue between the people and various components of the government at local level. I think these are some of the important aspects. If you want to improve public services, if you want to have increased accountability in the systems, better transparency in the system, whether the local governments do social auditing, all these things help in participatory governance arrangements. The participatory governance arrangements are possible through ward committees, through self-help groups, through advisory councils, through various procedures like social auditing, etc., as adopted in many other states. So these are some of the important theoretical dimensions which I was wanting to share before I talk about the India's experience and experience of some of the states, and also about the Chandigarh. Some studies indicate that implementing participatory governance in developing countries has been a very challenging task. It has not been very easy to implement participatory governance process in many countries. India's response to participatory governance has been mixed kind of response. Some states have done good, but majority of states lack participatory governance. Chandigarh, which relies on Punjab Municipal Corporation Act, because the same act has been extended to Chandigarh, Punjab Municipal Corporation Act 1976, after 74th Amendment it was extended to Chandigarh. Whether these acts and many other legal, institutional and administrative arrangements have been inherited or from other states, or they have been evolved in the city through participatory mechanisms. These are very important dimensions if we talk about participatory governance. Chandigarh heavily rely on Punjab's Municipal Corporation Act and many other arrangements, bureaucratic arrangements and other things mainly come from Punjab. So I think looking at all these things, because it's not just adopting the different acts and different legal provisions and relying on bureaucracy from the other states, it's also crucial in the context that we inherit many of the problems, their problems to the city. If they are not having participatory governance, we may also not have it, because we are adopting their acts and depending on their bureaucracy, depending on many other things from those neighboring states. So I think for the city like Chandigarh, which need to evolve its own mechanisms, we have central legislations like 74th Amendment Act, in which the instruments of participation and governance were incorporated in the form of ward committees and district planning committees. I think we could evolve our own systems. When Chandigarh began its journey in early 50s, it started to administer through bureaucratic setup. which we know how much cared about the people, and particularly people's participation in the local administration and management and planning, etc. And this dimension was way back highlighted by Madhu Sareen in her very famous book, Planning for the Third World Countries, which was a case study of Chandigarh. I also did some studies few years back. I have written some articles, and I did my PhD also on housing for the urban poor in Chandigarh, in which I have highlighted the issues of participatory planning and governance and how it, has deficiencies. It was only after the enactment of 74th Constitutional Amendment Act that Chandigarh came up for the first time with the elected governance in 1996. And in the elected governance, it was thought that since it has elected representatives, it has people's representatives, it has provision of ward committees and district planning committees. So it was thought that the process of planning and governance will change drastically. But somehow things have been very slow and not up to the mark, like in many other states, where the participatory planning and governance mechanisms are very, very strong. I think we have been trying through research and training to promote participatory governance and planning mechanisms in the region, including in Chandigarh. But somehow things have moved slowly. If I highlight another issue which is related to the advisory council, that is another important aspects in the context of participatory governance. It could play a very important role if it has different subcommittees to work on various important issues and subjects in the city, to plan, to manage the things, help in oversee the things by conducting regular meetings, discussing various dimensions, prioritizing various requirements, the needs, by taking into consideration the priorities, the needs of the local citizens, various stakeholders, resident welfare association, self-help groups, poor people's representations, industry, shopkeepers, women, youths, aged people, disabled people. So I think advisory council and ward committees and subject committees constituted in the municipal corporation can play a very, very vital role in promoting participatory governance. but there has been a lot of ad hocism in conducting the meetings, in selecting the people. I think the entire process of people becoming part of these committees and councils should change. We should have better, transparent systems in which people from various walks of life they become part of the decision making. They help, they support, they facilitate the things. And it's not only the bureaucrats who decide the things. So the entire process of planning, which is still not bottom up, but top down, needs to be changed. Here I also want to give an example of housing. Chandigarh, in terms of construction of housing, has done pretty well. The number of houses constructed by Chandigarh administration is good. But again, the people's participation has been very poor. From the initial stages, while conceiving the projects for housing for the urban poor. My PhD thesis was on this, which I completed in 2018. And I found that despite the good efforts, despite achieving good number of housing units for the poor, the issues of segregation, issues of marginalization of the poor are there. And the marginalization is not only spatial in the sense of spatial marginality, spatial segregation, but it is also in the form of social and economic marginalization. You can see that poor people, slum dwellers, they have put together in several localities, whether it is Dhanas, Sector 38 West, or Sector 56, or in Ramdarbar, or many other localities. I think it's a big flaw in the system of planning. We also did not consider the requirement, the priorities of the poor people while planning that one room dwelling. So many of the urban poor, after they were allotted the units, they had to change the internal structures. If people's participation was there in the initial stage, while making the initial layout plan of the unit, maybe we could have avoided that modifications, which resulted not only in the wastage of money of the urban poor, but also degraded the quality of the buildings. So that is another example. And of course, while shifting the people from colony number 4 or 5 to Dhanas or elsewhere, their workplaces where they used to work, they have gone far away. The ladies who were working nearby their slum areas are not able to find the jobs. Many people had to change their occupations. Many people have left the jobs because commuting every day to far-flung areas is another problem because of that. So I think these are some of the dimensions in local governance, in municipal corporation, in advisory council, in preparing various projects where people participation can play very important role in governing the city, in managing the local affairs, in improving the service delivery. Chandigarh has slipped in Swachh Bharat ranking. In many more areas, despite one of the best cities, we are lagging behind. I think we need to look at all these dimensions. While I have various suggestions to improve the situation in the context of participatory planning and governance in Chandigarh, like improving the local planning and governance at the pattern of Kerala model, where the plans are made at neighborhood level and then they become the plan of the city, and then they have a district planning committee which integrates the plan of the city as well as the villages, and then it becomes the plan of the district, and then all the district plan become the part of the state plan. And this is how the planning process should start. Kerala had huge people's plan campaign. They engaged all the institutions, all the agencies in planning. And today, at very short notice, because they have a lot of trained people, at very short notice they can organize training programs for the elected representative and officials, because they have trained the people from various colleges, universities, research institutions, training institutions, ITIs and all. Panchayats, you'll find a lot of people from Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies. They are the trainer. So when the new governments are elected, local governments are elected, suddenly you find a lot of people to help them as a trainer about the new systems, new mechanisms. So they engage children through child assemblies, Bal Sabha, they call it Bal Sabha. They engage them in the local planning process from the beginning. So Kerala's model is very efficient model, very good model. Their devolutions are very high, one of the highest in India. Devolution from state to the local bodies and panchayats. The resources of the panchayats. In panchayat, they have even biodiversity plans. I don't find it here even in the municipalities. They don't know even what is biodiversity. They have small plans for all major things. And that's why they're very efficient in planning. And these plans are prepared in consultation with the people. I think these are some of the things, if we adopt in Chandigarh, we learn from Kerala, we learn from Gujarat, we learn from Madhya Pradesh and many other states. They are doing much better in terms of participatory planning. Way back I wrote an article in Hindustan Times that Chandigarh can try mayor and council system, which is much better than present mayoral system. And the term is just 1 year. It is like ceremonial kind of system that you want to make everybody a mayor. Mayor is very responsible position. It takes a lot of time to learn how to do the things, and when you learn, there is another mayor for 1 year. So I think we need to reform many things so that system of planning, system of governance improves. We also need to reform advisory council, different subjects, different process of selecting people, regular meetings with the officials, meeting with different stakeholders of the city, and it should be effective instrument of planning, governance, management of local affairs. It should not be ceremonial, just 1 meeting or 2 meetings in a year and it's over. No, it should be very regular. Lot of hard work should be done to make it an effective tool of planning and governance. So I'm a researcher. I have a lot of things to talk, a lot of ideas, but I think time doesn't permit, and we have a very good panel of experts who will be talking about various dimensions of planning and governance in Chandigarh. They have been there in various capacities. We have Dr. Tom Evermade, Professor for the History and Theory of Urban Design, Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Zurich, Switzerland, who will talk on learning from everyday Chandigarh, urban futures of the recent past. We have former members of Parliament from Chandigarh, Sri Pawan Kumar Bansalji and Sri Satyapal Jainji, who will share their insights on the city of Chandigarh, the existing practices of public participation, along with the ideas for a framework to safeguard its future. Then we have a talk on participatory governance models by Dr. Laurent Stader, Chair for the Theory of Architecture, Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, Zurich, Switzerland. And then concluding remarks will be given by Dr. Sangeeta Bagga, who is renowned architect and principal, Chandigarh College of Architecture. Thank you very much.